The Råne River is the country's longest boreal river, starting its course near Gällivare in Lapland. The river winds its way through an ancient landscape of endless forests, sparkling lakes and atmospheric taiga marshes. The river has two parts, the upper river in the beautifully rugged fells and the lower part in the fertile coastal plain. On its way through the countryside, the river eventually forms impressive calmer waters down in the fertile farmland, before it runs into the Gulf of Bothnia near Råneå. Despite constant threats from dam builders, the river's still free and untamed. The forestry companies and the local people have found ways to develop the area, including ecotourism focused on the future. It's the ancient forest that gives us the basis for a prosperous and comfortable future. A mysterious spirit presides over a river valley that's always been a waterway for man and animals. There's a secret room out there, a part of us that's known to few. Thundering waterfalls and wild water have always affected our senses, both in reality and imagination. Beyond the valley, the river widens and becomes calmer. Fly fishing for pike has become more popular than ever. When spring has turned to a gentle early summer, we set off on the first long-awaited pike safari. When the reeds are just poking their stems over the surface, the mighty pike swims off to the hunt. It's now we should be there, and it's at the mouth of the Råne River where the party begins. This river has always meant a great deal to pike fishermen, an El Dorado for those who like a physical challenge. Colourful pike flies, well-trimmed pike rods and sizable leaders are important parts of the preparations needed to have any chance at all of success.
Det kan vara bra den här. Hej ho! Ja, helt liten är den inte. Det kan jag säga. Det är en bra fisk, ja. Hej ho! Nu sticker den. Det är en bra fisk. Fan. Oj! Underbara uppflygsbar. En fin jävla. Aj, tunnebåt. Den är inte klar än. Det här är en fin gädda. Ser du? Oj. Nej. Gå runt båten.
The pike is equipped with the fishing world's most impressive dentistry. That's why it's important that you're equipped with good pliers or scissor clamps to avoid hurting the fish or yourself when removing the hook.
Oj, fin kondition är den också.
Jag boxerar den. Nu ska vi se om jag klarar av det här fantastiska gäddret. Ända ner mot den där. Det är kul med gäddflugfiske. Men flugorna blir så lurviga. Ja.
En meter gädda. 7 kilo.
Even pike can be released back to nature. While the fish is a supreme predator, we must always think of future stocks. The pike is one of our most delightful fish and a natural star for today's and tomorrow's recreational fishing industry.
På en gång så finns det andra fiskare som börjar fiska på samma gädda. Det är det som är tanken med catch and release. Där har vi Daniel.
Han har ingen tang.
Ja, det blåser ju inte så mycket.
Ja, det är skönt.
Det blir nog bra ikväll där.
Jo, det blir fantastiskt spännande att se sen när norsen börjar stiga rejält. När den börjar komma upp. För då har vi riktigt tur så kan vi få ett bra race.
Oh, shit!
What do I think about pike flies?
Yeah, you're allowed to have views on these croc killers from your home water.
Krokodilkillers.
Det är ju lite
It's a bit difficult to say how to start, but there's a lot of lamprey. And I'm surprised more people don't try black flies, because the lamprey is about this long and grey-black. I think it'd do well on a fine day like today. Otherwise, red's been popular this last week. I often use it. But it feels a bit too colourful when the water's so bright. They might come a bit nearer dusk.
These Christmas tree flies are very good on cloudy days, but I don't think they work in sunshine. What do you think?
No, I think there's too much glitter. Of course, the herring are coming in now and they're glittery, but they're a white fish. And in a few weeks, when the pike are tired and the water's gone down and the fish are really hunting, then this is fun. A popper. The ultimate in pike fishing. What do you think?
They're great when they're sweeping the surface.
Yeah, you can see them starting a long way off, and then what a splash.
Okay, I might test the lamprey, but I don't have to have the worst one. That one.
Yeah, that one. I'm going for a black one as well. And you might laugh at my frog, but if they're really biting, you can put on a matchbox and fish with that. As long as it moves on the surface, bite straight away. And then it's popper time. But this works as well.
It's natural food.
Right, frogs. But you need big flies for pike. You know, the hook doesn't have to be so big. It's what behind it that has to be long.
Of course.
And it'll be good sport if the hook holds. A short, thick hook, just right. Yeah, like that. Let's see who gets the first over a metre.
That's it. That's the big thing just now.
Right.
Okay.
Early summer provides the greatest chance of hooking one of these plump madams. When it happens, the world stands still, and everything is concentrated on the fish, the equipment and the struggle. Will the rod hold, or will the leader break with a frightful and unforgettable crack? In any case, take it easy is the watchword. It's never pleasant to leave a fish with a long leader in its mouth. But in the end, the fight isn't just between the fish and the fishermen. Friends gather quickly. Everyone wants to see Anders land the biggest pike he's ever taken on a fly, and from the Råne River's famous pike waters. The riverbank's busy and everyone's watching the big one out there in the river.
Fy satan, den är stor. Håll den tight. Inte gå ner.
Bakom den, ja. Kan du komma? Ja, hej då. Känns det, Anders? Jag är klar. Då gör det något. Du simmar det redan. Vill du inte simma, då får du skrämma. Ja, det var in lite grann på kanten. Det var lugnt hela tiden ändå. Nu går det gott till gräset. Kom igen nu, Lars. Gäll greppet. Yeah! Du ska slösa hela filmen.
Handen under magen på.
Ja, lätt eller
Despite the big pike, It's the camaraderie which is the most important part of all recreational fishing. Handshakes and hugs make life worth living, the favour of well-being that we should respect and care for. When the pike season's over, summer is at its most beautiful. The insects have hatched, and with them starts the char season on Vitresk Lake near Serbin in the Råne Valley. Bellyboat fishing on the lake is the overture to the fly fishing season we're all longing for. With the light nights once again capturing the landscape and the returning swans trumpeting in the sky, our great expectations for the coming summer grow. We're on the threshold of something new, exciting, but as yet unknown.
Drygt 17 tum, 43 centimeter. En härlig vitreskgröding.
And just then the char rise to your fly, a magical sign of an adventure you can hardly imagine. It's during the early summer that char like to feed on midges and all sorts of pupa. This is why your choice of fly should concentrate on small imitations, and fishing should be done with relatively thin tippets. The belly boats prove to be the perfect tool for these pleasures, and it doesn't seem to disturb the often shy char. Bobbing along in a belly boat on a calm lake is delightful. Night brings a serene and peaceful feeling. To be truly alone is something not many can experience in our world. But once again, the dream of winter's been realised, and once again the char are watching over the still, calm waters. Salmon still rise from the wild, untamed waters. The salmon in the Råne River are genetically pure and have never been affected by the introduction of stockfish. This genuine boreal river is one of few remaining habitats for the fish, which has always tempted fishermen and lovers of the outdoors to make long hikes. The species has become popular even within the recreational fishing industry. But it's nature's interest we should harvest, not the capital. If we want thriving salmon stocks in the future, fishing must be structured and organised around availability. Fly fishing has come to stay, and Råne River's size, combined with the rich flora and fauna of the valley, provide the natural conditions which will be sought after more and more. fly is being cocked and the tension is rising. Out there the white water hides the fish that's always cast its spell over us. It's now or never.
Yes!
Blank. Vacker. Råne älvslax. Fy fan vad härligt.
Our happy fisherman walks off into the wilderness. The river has shown its most generous aspect, a gift to cherish and to be grateful for. The river valley provides plenty of small waterholes for all of us. Fly fishing for graylings become even more popular, and a belly boat on calm waters is an experience not to be missed. From the delicate greenery of early summer, we wander on into the northern wilderness. With the summer warmth comes the insects. The river valley has lots of hidden streams and lakes to care for, isolated places where you can be alone. There are few things so enthralling as casting a dry fly accurately onto a rising grayling. Dry fly fishing for grayling adds spice to the dish. Sitting in your belly boat, you get close to the water, which helps when you release your catch. She belongs to the ancient land, a timeless messenger from a land we no longer know, an expression of life which we must preserve for future generations. It's pleasant to drift over a calm lake, air full of insects, on a warm evening. The grayling rise to the dry fly, and life is like a never-ending party. We fish with light rods and relatively fine tippets. We choose mainly dry flies and the lighter nymphs and pupa.
Helvete. Han var tuff den här. Han är inte riktigt trött.
Kom här du. Hallå!
The grayling feast carries on all day. Eternity feels as though it's got no limits. In this happy land we find peace and relaxation, a grace to pray for. Bellyboat fishing is here to stay, but you always need to take account of the type of water you're fishing. Larger lakes, which allow boating, are to be preferred, and then the bellyboat will be the perfect vessel. Catch and release is a necessary part of ecological fishing if fish stocks are to thrive and increase. No organism exists in infinite numbers, not even grayling.
Han kämpar på den här. Oh! Oj, oj, oj! Det är kraftfullt. Oj, oj. Ja. Ta fisken här. Och kolla vad lätt den hänger. Den där lossnar ju. Nej. Fin här. Ja, kom igen då.
And amongst all the rising grayling, something happens that sharpens all the senses. Daniel realises that his grayling is a really fine mustard yellow trout. The Råne River has a number of interesting tributaries, so you need to fish with care. These umbilicals are the river's main nurseries for the growing fish. These streams are the basis of the fishing population for all rivers, and thus of the populations that we'd like to see. These smaller streams can provide great experiences. The sense of being alone expands the mind, nature comes closer, and the adventure provides release. There are lots of beautiful places to see, secret hideaways where we can in peace and quiet enjoy the sweet delights of nature which surrounds us. The Valley's Fishery Conservancy uses electric fishing and a large number of different programmes to preserve and improve the biotope. Several activities have been necessary, including restoration work following a long period when the river was used for logging to create conditions for sustainable recreational fishing. Conservancy is based on active management and active policing of the waters.
Jag böjer upp han lite så får du grepp. Ja. Vi rullar bara.
Camaraderie is one of the most important aspects of fishing. After a long day's fishing, nothing's better than good food, preferably cooked outdoors over an open fire. The aromas spread along the bank, accompanied by lots of good stories.
Det är din Johan. Där var det mycket i också. Oj, oj. Oj. Varsågod. Där får vi.
As the sun sets slowly in the west, it's once again time to set off in our belly boats. We're well fed and look hopefully for the lake's larger trout. And almost at once, something happens to increase the excitement. Nicholas shouts out loud as the first trout of the evening bites, and what a bite it turns out to be. The fish is strong and pulls the belly boat steadily out to deeper water. We look on, feeling that the Nordic dusk has been blessed with a feeling of great satisfaction. When the trout's finally been netted, total silence envelops the lake. When returning a fish, it's always important that the oxygen-rich water is allowed to run through the gills before the fish is finally released. Being able to get your water straight from the lake is a pleasure we can still experience, but becoming a less usual experience that we should preserve for future generations. Coffee made over an open fire in the wilderness still tastes best. For many of us, the cooking pot's the most important ingredient for an interesting and pleasant outdoor life, something none of us can be without. And suddenly, a reel gives off the sound that makes us all spring to attention. A personally designed brown-suited muddler has struck. One of the lake's larger trout has bitten above the streamer, caused some excitement and forced the reel to release metre after metre of line. Time stands still, and our thoughts are focused on the fisherman and his bending rod. One jump and it's clear. A large trout has struck and the fisherman can enjoy a rare fight. It's now your nerves are stretched to breaking point, your hands are sweaty, your legs weak. You need to take it easy so that nothing unpleasant happens. The fish feels heavy and the leaps over the surface show that tiredness is beginning to tell. Soon time for the net, perhaps.
Det gick ju bra där.
Ja.
En kraftfull.
Congratulations, Eric. A really beautiful trout. It's not every day you get a trout weighing nearly 4 kilos. A pearl from the northern forests. As spring turns to summer, we once again set off with our belly boats to fish for pike. The salmon are already in their spawning grounds, and most of the larger pike have left the estuary. Some interesting pike are to be had in the river's many areas of calmer water. Summer pike often frequent the same waters as the migrating salmon, and you can fish for them in more rapidly flowing waters. Bellyboat fishermen should keep to calmer waters to avoid unnecessary problems. The largest pike ever caught here on a rod weighed more than 15 kilos and is, of course, the dream we all live with. The Råne River is pike water of some note.
Vilka bra fäller ut fightingvatten är rejälen.
But a fat 6-kilo pike's nothing to be ashamed of, especially if you catch it on a fly in exciting circumstances in pleasant waters. The pike's a pretty fish with a characteristic shape and colour. It's ideally suited to recreational fishing and is a natural inhabitant of these northern waters. There's always plenty of excitement and the result is always uncertain.
Ser du vad det är? Det gäller att se upp med sina fingrar. Rå åt helvete, det var bra drag. Jag började återvärdera det när jag sa att jag skulle ta en 10 kilos lättare med greppet. Det var fan i gränsfall. Ett nytt försök. Ja, det var svårt det här. Yeah! Råne!
You can travel along the river quite pleasantly in an inflatable canoe. You should preferably do this in the company of good friends and in safe waters. You need to pack things correctly and watertight, an obvious precaution if it rains or if the waves are high.
Här kan vi även lasta i andra grejer. Man ska inte packa för lätt. Här kommer en rejäl stor.
It's pleasant to float along a well-known waterway. You can feel the compact silence beating in your chest and you're suddenly very close to nature. You're free to stop where you will and try your luck. The lads have taken out the double-handed rod, a sure sign that they're after salmon. As the river's over 200 kilometres long, there are lots of fantastic places to fish. You get a warm, cosy feeling with all these choices within easy reach. The old forest keeps us company in the valley, emphasising our closeness to the river and the surrounding countryside. The journey continues, and soon we reach our second stop for fishing. This looks really inviting, with deep hollows and shallow sandbanks. Palle gets the first salmon of the day. This legendary fish is a self-evident representative of this major Swedish river. The Råne River is renowned for its stocks of crayfish, and every autumn the local people flock to the river to catch this much sought after delicacy. The event has become a major social occasion. The tension increases as the time comes to empty the crayfish traps. There aren't many native crayfish left in Sweden, as the crayfish plague has spread rapidly. This is why the stocks in the Råne River are today almost unique. The Råne River empties into the northern part of the Gulf of Bothnia. The adjoining island chains make this one of the biggest archipelagos in Sweden. Interestingly enough, the grayling has found its way out to these islands where you can get some pleasant fly fishing. This is dependent on the brackish water, which contains very little salt, providing good conditions for insects to flourish in. An important factor in providing good conditions for grayling is that the islands have stony coves and headlands. The narrow passages between islands, where the currents are more noticeable, and the sandbanks and skerries all provide good fishing for grayling.
Kör helt enkelt den vanliga klassiska enkla harapluger som red tag och black seal och sådär. De funkar skitbra. Jag tog lite lättare nu. Jag tog den här nu för den funkar ner lite mer.
To find grayling on these sandbanks is unique for Swedish waters. The grayling even mates in the archipelago, mainly in the currents between islands. A characteristic for this grayling is that it's thinner and more silvery than the river grayling. As the archipelago is so big, there are plenty of opportunities to fly fish for grayling.
En kust här.
Du, nu fick jag en fisk också. Se där.
Now we've fished a whole season on the Råne River. It's autumn, it's September. The leaves have gone yellow and the water's cold. I've lived here for 30 years and I'm still full of wonderment about how beautiful this river is. When I first came here, there wasn't really anyone fishing the river. There was some pike fishing in the spring, but no one really fished for grayling. And now there's a gang of fly fishermen. The currents are made for fishing grayling. A peculiarity of the coastal grayling is that it comes upstream in the autumn. And we don't know why. They might be looking for food, or it could be a leftover from when some fish were planted in the 80s. A few years ago, I caught a river grayling here, where we're sitting, almost a kilo and 46 centimetres long. Later the same day, I caught a coastal grayling, just as long, but only half the weight. And no one knows why. But it's an interesting phenomenon all the same. Grayling coming up to feed in the autumn and then leaving the river, only to come back in the spring to breed. I've caught a grayling as late as the 15th of November in this village. There was snow on the ground, and that same evening we skied the first 10 kilometres of the illuminated ski track. So you can fish here as long as there's no ice and it's reasonably warm. For me, an important measure of quality of life is living in this village so close to unspoiled water. I say that because we can't take for granted that they won't build a dam in the river. We all fought to keep the river unspoilt in the 70s, and today the threat's returned. We've got a few major rivers left that should be kept for posterity. Råne and the Råne River is my home and my life. I realise now that my relatively long life as a fly fisherman has been partly ruled by the grayling. I want to live where the grayling are. And as long as they swim upstream to breed, and as long as I can use a fly to catch some in the summer, I'll stay here in the village, an eternal gem.